Morning guys! So I'm here at our allotment. We've finally got a plot. Actually, I say finally, we haven't really been waiting that long for it. We applied in April and it's coming up to the end of July now. And I'd heard that like waiting times for allotments could be up to 2 years. And I definitely wasn't expecting to get one now because it's kind of the time when the allotment is bearing fruit, like literally. So yeah, we've inherited one, and today's the first day that we can get onto the plot. It's quite big. I'm sure we'll be able to handle it. I just feel like it's almost a little bit overwhelming at the moment. Now I've just come down and like looked at the size of it. Today's the first day we've been able to really get on the plot. I think it's about 18 meters by 8. There's loads of berry bushes here already, which really appealed to me. We've spent a fortune on berries this year, so that was something that I really wanted to put in, so that's good. We actually had a look at the plot on Google Earth, and I think that hasn't been updated since about 2008, and the berries were there then. There's a cow over there. That just gave me the fright of my life. There's a cow come to say hello for the video. I thought it was someone like hiding in the bushes. But it's a cow. Okay, I'll just carry on with the cow there. So, as I was saying, we looked at the plot on Google Earth and the images there were taken in about 2008, and it looked like the berry bushes were there then. So I think they're fairly well established. Yesterday we actually went to the garden centre and got some bits, so I filmed a little bit of footage there. I'll pop that in now. Bought some gardening gloves, which we figured were going to be the first things we need for clearing the allotment. We're now a member of the gardening club, so you collect points when you buy things. And we got a voucher for lunch, so we decided to stop and get some meals as well. I didn't actually expect a garden centre meal to be this fancy, because we're in kind of like a shed awning-y place, and it's come with vegetables, and Charlotte's got the same too. It was really nice salmon. I actually found the whole process really overwhelming. There was like so much stuff to choose from, and we don't have any equipment at all. I just didn't know where to start, like what we were actually going to need, and it was also really expensive. So after we'd been to the garden centre, we went down to Wilkinsons. So from Wilkinsons I got this big bucket. I got the cheapest secateurs they had and some bin bags. We are hoping to compost as much as we possibly can, but some of the weeds and things here have already gone to seed, so we don't really want to put those into the compost. And with the secateurs, I have no idea like what we actually need. You could spend a fortune. These were £2.50. I thought I'm going to give them a go today, see how I get on, and when I've learned a bit more about the tools that I actually need, I don't mind investing in them, but I just don't want to spend money now and get the wrong thing, so I'm just going to get started with those. So let me show you a bit of the plot. Like this is from the bottom end. It's a bit of a jungle really. I think today I've got a couple of jobs that I want to prioritise. So some of the weeds have gone to seed. I want to get those off before they spread everywhere, and the black currant bushes have actually got fruit on them, so I want to get that off today as well. It's going to be really hot today, so I'm just going to spend a couple of hours here this morning, and there's some potatoes in here. I'm going to come back this evening and dig those out when it's nice and cool. And actually, Mom and Lynn are coming down this evening as well. And obviously they've got a huge garden and they know lots and lots about gardening. So they'll be able to hopefully give us some pointers. I mean, there's some plants I can't even identify, so I need a hand with that. So this is the top end of the allotment. There's lots of strawberries over there. I think there's been some sweet peas in here as well. And then where that shed is, that's the next plot. And to that shed over there, that's the bottom of the next plot over as well. So it's like between those two sheds is at the start of our plot, and then it goes all the way back down to the fence where we just were with the cow. I'm already getting really red. It's quite hot out here. Like I said, I don't do very well in the heat, so that's why I'm just going to do a couple of hours this morning and come back later when it's cooler. I think I'll manage better then. This plot, it's about, our flat is in the middle of town, so it's about a 15-minute walk down to here, which is fine, but we're probably going to need to put a shed or something here so we can store our tools, because obviously we don't want to be carrying those up and down. So we've actually already put in a written application for that, because you have to give them notice that you're going to be erecting a building essentially. And we're hoping to have a little greenhouse as well, because my mum's got an old alpine house that we can have, and Fortunately, my sister's also just moved house and she's got a shed that we can have, but before we can put any of that in, we've got to clear a space. I'm not even sure what this weed is. There's so much to learn having this plot. I think it might be a dock leaf, but as I said, it's gone to seed. So I'm gonna get those out. I'm not too bothered about getting them out by the roots and everything just now. I just want to get the seeds off so they don't spread before we get a chance to tackle this corner. On the nettles, there are loads and loads of these black caterpillars. I can't imagine that that's a good thing. These are the blackcurrant bushes that just go down this edge here. Sadly, some of the berries have already just rotted on the bush, which isn't very good really. But if we look up a little bit more, there are loads and loads of blackcurrants still on the bush, so that's why I wanted to get these out today. I didn't want them to rot like the other ones. So apparently blackcurrants grow best on second year stems, and I did a little bit of googling on it, and apparently it can be difficult to distinguish after you've picked the berries the new growth from the old growth. But I don't think these ones have been pruned back. I don't know, I can clearly see the new growth. These are the stems are much thicker, much browner and woodier, but I'm going to take them out anyway. And a tip that Chris gave us, he's the guy who showed us around the allotment at the end of last week, was to cut the branches out with the fruit on them and then pick the fruit off afterwards. So that's what I'm going to do today. So this is in at the base of the plant and the stems are really thick. I do not think my little secateurs that I brought were going to be able to manage to get through this. I'd read that you wanted to chop them off about 2 inches above ground level, but I don't know, I'm going to need a saw or something to actually get in and do that, so I'll just take off what I can, I think. So I've stripped one of the, I think there's 4 blackcurrant bushes, and I bought this tub to collect all of the blackcurrants in, and it's pretty much full, so I may need to fill the bucket. It wasn't actually as easy to identify the new growth as I thought it would be, because most of the new growth was coming out of old growth, so I didn't want to totally massacre the plant, but hopefully I've left enough leaders so there will be still blackcurrants next year. It's actually gone really overcast and looks like it might thunder, but it's quite cool down by the rhubarb, so I'm going to have a sandwich for lunch now. This is the little compost bin which is actually already on the site, and these are the blackcurrants that I've already taken out this morning. That was about the thickness that my secateurs could manage. So one thing that there's a lot of wrapped through the plants is this white flower. I don't know what it is. It was all through the blackcurrants. It doesn't really seem to be doing them any harm. I mean, there's plenty of blackcurrants, but I need to check that out because it has got a bit of a chokehold through a few of the berry bushes. I came back home this afternoon because it's just so hot out there, and I'm making this Currant Cordial, which is just dripping through this sieve now. I'm going to actually do a blog post on this so you can check it out there. I put this vegetable lasagna together this morning before I went out. I'm just going to pop that in the oven. As I mentioned, Mum and Lynn are coming round, so I thought I should at least feed them before I set them to work in the allotment. And I'm going to just do a green salad to go with that because I think that'll be nice and fresh, and it's just so hot today. So the lasagna is done. This is a recipe from Trevor's mum. It's vegetarian lasagna, it'll be good. And Mum and Lynn are here and they've brought gifts. They've brought a giant cucumber and some sweet peas from their garden. So I don't know if this looks like much compared to earlier. I should put 2 side-by-side shots in so we can try and compare it, but I'll just show you what we've done. So we've put in this little courgette plat because that was one that Mum brought us as like a allotment warming, although she did say it was actually one she was going to put on the compost and she thought she would bring it to us anyway. These peas that are in here we've cleared out a little bit so they're less choked, and the same with this one. The white flower that I was unsure about earlier, that was bindweed, so we've taken out a whole load of that. It was really dense. There's still some in the blackcurrants and stuff, but we're just going to work on one section at a time and get it sorted out. And then this bit, which was the giant patch of nettles and docks, Trevor's had a really good clear of, and we've discovered there's probably what was an old composter in there, and there's this like metal rack, a whole lot of rubbish, and we think a composter waiting to be built as well. So this is more of the stuff that we've dug out down here, and then we've got our little composter come general, where we just pop in stuff in there until we can get the shed sorted out. One thing we did find was a lot of wire, which I imagine was a fence or something at some point. We don't actually have a car, so I don't really know how we're going to get rid of it. It's going to be quite difficult. I don't know if you can like hire a skip or get these things collected. We're gonna have to look into it, because as much as we want to compost everything, there's lots of plastic waste and metal and stuff that we can't compost. So we're just going to do some measuring up now and call it a night, but I will see you later in the week.
And I remember my grandfather growing tomatoes when I was a little girl, and he certainly didn't use grow bags then. I looked in all the old gardening books and things to try and find a recipe for the mix, and didn't really have much luck, so I kind of took it a bit of potluck